It's actually quite weird because I didn't realise how far we'd come until you sort of brought it up, and then I thought, oh, it all sort of it was all right there in front of me.
Cool. So with Mark and Catherine, look, guys, just introduce yourself and explain a little bit about your business, so the type of work, the trade you're in, and your team setup.
So, I'm Mark Taylor, Taylor and Sons Drainage, just Catherine Swain. So we're sort of co-directors of the company. We started 2018, I believe. I was a drain layer for 20 odd years prior to that, and just literally just decided to start my own business, just really off the bat, off the cuff. And me and my son and my band, and very new to business, and a couple of early lessons. Sort of thought I need to get educated on business pretty quickly. So I joined the program November of 2018 after going to one of the boot camps, and made the investment. I was sort of we were very low turnover back then, and the sort of the cost of it was always a bit scary, a bit daunting. But I was literally clueless about business, and
at that point there was quite for Mark, there was quite a few sleepless nights, and there was a point where he was so stressed out that he couldn't even sleep, so it was really getting to where it was the point where we felt it was like make or break, and how could we possibly make this better? But that's when you joined it, wasn't it?
So that's about the state of it, and we've sort of gone on from there.
Yep. So where are you based?
We're in Christchurch.
Yep. And you're a drainage.
Drainage contractor. Yeah.
What sort of work do you primarily do?
We do a lot of residential work, a little bit of light commercial. It's mainly residential. We picked up an EQC contract, and we're doing probably about 80% of our work these days is earthquake replacement work. But I have gotten quite a few builders on board now, so we're doing a lot of new stuff as well.
Yep. And just quickly explain the size of the team as well.
We've just employed another guy, but it's basically me and Kat. I've got my daughter in the office. She's just started doing admin. Then I've got my two sons. My oldest son's just got his trade certificate. He's registered. And then I've got two apprentices as well.
Yep.
And a truck driver who's sort of casual, just comes in when I need some bit of trucking done.
Yeah. Okay, so you sort of touched on it already a bit, guys, but what was life like before you joined the $1 Million Tradie program, and what were you looking to improve in the business?
Well, really, like I said, I'd had a few pointers. I just put, 20% on markup on materials and stuff. And when I started the business, we were purely subcontracting, labour only, and I had one client, and I got put in a situation that year where they kind of stitched me up a little bit. They put me in a horrible situation, and I thought, God, if I was to sort of push back here and lose my contract, I've actually got nothing. I've got no work and mouths to feed. So
one is a bad number in business, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
One client particularly.
I sort of I just didn't know what to do. And I was, like I say, the numbers, we didn't know anything about markup and margin and anything like that. I was literally just getting a wage.
We also didn't know how to, at that point, because he was subcontracting himself out to this one firm and bringing a wage in every week for us. If he lost that, we were like, where do we find customers? We haven't got any customers. Where do we find them? Where do we go? We had absolutely no idea what to do. So that's where our life was at that time. When we look back now, it was a really stressful period. So we had to learn really quickly. And you did. You did.
You certainly did. So let's touch on that. So what have been the changes that you've made?
Well, obviously, we started with the marketing. I think that's sort of the first thing we started with when I joined.
So we
and the numbers and the marketing really. So
we did the website, got the website up and running and made that look really nice. We started on the lumpy mail, which had a really, really good, that gave us some custom straight away. So that was able to give us a few clients straight away, wasn't it? And got us out there. And I think the custom we got, we started to get really good feedback off them. For the jobs that Mike was doing, and he quite quickly started building relationships with the builders through that. Yep. So the lumpy mail was a really, really good first thing that I did for marketing, wasn't it? Then we got the Facebook page up and running, and we got up onto our business listing. We got it on Google, and we made sure that we had somebody running that for us, so that we got quite high up in the rankings. I also started, and this has been a really really successful part, is that every time that we had a client, I sent out a review request, and if they didn't answer that, I sent out another review request, and I do that all the time, and that's built up and given us a 5-star rating now, above a lot of drainage companies, and people seem to automatically come to us, our phoners now.
Amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Social and proof. Also, like with the marketing as well, we've sort of tried a few different things and we've stuck with what's worked, which is usually the simple things like uniforms and sign writing and stuff like that.
Policies and procedures is another one. We made sure that we got everything across the board, that I've done a full health and safety policy and procedures and manuals, and others like bullying and harassment, stuff like that. So I've made sure that we've got some really tight policies, and we're still tightening them up as we go along and building on them. We've put people on courses, free courses that we've found, admin courses, things like that, so that we can build up our knowledge along the way. And just learning these new things, and it doesn't have to cost a lot, has really helped us, hasn't it? And Mark's listened to a lot of online stuff.
Lots of audio books and stuff like that.
Huge.
Yeah.
Our numbers as well.
Mark, talk to us about the numbers, because I know that was an area of uncertainty for you. So just tell us about what you've done there.
So, it's things like I've learned to sort of navigate Xero. I look at the profit loss statement almost daily.
I love it. It's good.
Markup versus margin. I've got the chart sitting there on the wall. I still look at it, even though I pretty much know it off by heart now, with my pricing. And I've really gone to quite a lot of lengths to build up pricing templates and that in Xero. I've done away with generic meter rates and things like that for drainage. I actually do markup in materials now, and it's a really streamlined process. And I know the numbers are right. I just know they are, so I can throw them out there and not have to worry about them. That's
so good.
It's really good. And cost tracking and back costing. I've got to keep up with the back cost.
Have you been a naughty boy?
Well, what I've done, it's not that we haven't done any, but we haven't done enough. And
we have been asking companies to change our invoices into CSV files so that we can start that process. And we have started it, but we just haven't finished it, have we?
So the back costing is automatic through Fergus if you've got all your ducks in a row. So
for sure.
Where we're headed.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk about the results of the changes you've made. What have been the results for you, for the business, for you personally as well?
We've just grown. We've had huge growth. I mean, I sort of had a plan to get one new employee. It turns out I've gotten 2, and I need another one. And I actually need a project manager now as well. So the growth has just been unbelievable.
So let's talk about the growth. So where were you at turnover wise? Back when we first talked, and what does it look like now?
Well, I think we might have been turning over maybe 26 roughly a month, 18 to 26 a month, and now we're closing in on 6 figures. It's sort of work in progress sort of things, but it's about 6 figures now a month.
Yeah,
and growing. I've done a budget for the year, and the phone's just ringing. The phone's always ringing. I'm getting lots of stuff, lots of plans, and lots is coming in. There's a constant stream of work coming in, which is a really good sign, especially in today's environment.
Yeah, totally. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's been huge for us. And we've got profit. We've implemented profit first. So I've got a profit account that's got money in it that I don't have to touch, which is
so good.
It's not a huge amount, but it's always growing. We've got a really good system there with our sort of just tidied up our finances and got ourselves to a point where I can say, well, we've paid off a lot of debt. I got us into a lot of debt getting into where we are, and I've paid off big chunks of it at a time, which is
we
great.
Also set up an account that we put money in, so that if we do have a lockdown or anything again, that we've got backup funds.
Yeah.
And we also,
cash
I think
reserves,
it's cash reserve sort of thing. And then we also set up, which has been really good for the boys and Phoebe and stuff, like an incentive account.
Yep.
So that works. We put money in each time we get a 5-star review, or each time we get feedback off a customer that the boys have done a good job. We put money in then at a set rate, we work it out, and then we go and check their KPIs, and if they've done well, we put money in there. Then at the end of the year, we split it fairly between all the workers, and we have that up on a board, and they love looking at that board, and they love looking at that going up. Although we do have a penalising system as well, as if they break their tools or do anything like that, we take the money out of the incentive account to pay for that. So they understand that, but it's been a really good tool for them to like charge forward.
Yeah, so good. So good. So tell me about the changes that it's meant for you as people, and how life has changed. Yeah.
Mindset changes. So probably the biggest one is letting go of fear.
Yeah.
And I've held off doing so many things. Had a vision board there. Could have probably had them a year ago if I just had the guts to make the call. So it's changing your way of thinking in that, okay, well, you've got a goal and you're making your decisions with the goal in mind, I suppose. The vision board now needs to be redone because we pretty much crossed everything off the list. So that's one big thing. Being open, like listening to people. I've pushed back on a lot of stuff. I think with you guys, it was deposits initially. And I was always pushing back. I was like, I don't want the money before I've done the work. And I remember...
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Graham Bond was saying that 2 boot camps in a row. He's like, just get deposits. And I'm like, nah. Anyway, cash flow issues all the time. Always cash flow issues. I started taking deposits and they just went away. It's as simple as that. So listening to people's advice and aligning yourself with the right people, I've just sort of become a lot more open, I suppose,
we have both tried to start putting things for wellness things into our life, like mindfulness, looking after ourselves, making sure that we go swimming twice a week, just to combat the stress, because Mark does work long hours and I work long hours in another job and then come and do admin work here. So that's been really important for us to make sure that we've got the right mindset, and the right health, and sort of cut down on alcohol and stuff like, it's been a real, we need to keep well so that we can keep working.
I think that's a massive thing that I notice. If you want to be better in business, you have to be better as a person because it demands you to be better. And your business is a reflection of where you're at. So I think that's a powerful learning. I think, Mark, you mentioned that there was a book that you read. Is it The Resilience Project?
Yeah, that's it.
So that was quite important for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've actually started keeping a gratitude journal. And it's not a big thing. It's literally 5 minutes before I go to sleep at night or first thing in the morning. And it's just writing down things you're grateful for. It's an app that came with the book, and what it does is it trains your mind to actually think positively. It's an amazing shift. Well, I stopped doing it when we went into lockdown. I thought I'm having a holiday, and I literally did nothing for 3 weeks. and ate and stopped exercising and everything, and came back. And when you look at the app, every day you fill it out, you've got to show your mood. And before the lockdown, I was getting back into the happy moods. You'd see each day as happy. Then after the lockdown, I think the first 8 or 9 days was anxiety, and you can see already it's gone back into the contentment and happiness. It's just unbelievable. I wouldn't have actually believed.
And I think this is really important because we're all in the construction sub trades. It tends to be quite macho and blokey. Let's be honest. And I think it's a bit taboo talking about your mental and your emotional health, but actually it's a massive part of business because it does suck a lot of energy. So it's really important to keep yourself strong. So I think that's been an important part of the journey for you as well.
Yeah, definitely.
There are still parts that we're struggling in, and but we're learning as well, and we are making plans to combat those areas. It's like we're still not getting enough time together and getting enough weekends off. Yep. So we've started employing more staff so that happens sooner rather than later. So we are forging forward with a plan so that starts to happen.
I don't think there's ever a perfect scenario, and I think that's once you accept that, you can actually look, like you say, the climbing the mountain, looking back at what you've done. That's when you can actually appreciate what you've achieved, and when you're doing that, it's easier to move forward because your energy isn't all spent on being behind.
That's a massive mindset shift I think you've made there, and I find that too in businesses, that if you look at what's to be done, you feel like you've never achieved what you want to, but it's always going to be, there's always another bottleneck. Once you get your team working well, then you need to look at your financials, and then you get that working well, then you look at your marketing, and it cycles through. But that's the process of growth, which is brilliant. Love it. So just to finish up, guys, do you have any advice for someone who's stuck in their business and really wants to make improvements? They've been grinding away. What advice would you have for someone in that situation?
I'd say, firstly, go out and meet like-minded people. One of the best things I did was join networking groups, to the point now that the networking group that I was in, it wasn't about getting the business, it was about meeting the people and forging those relationships and just learning. I think it's a lonely existence running a business, because the only one that really cares about is the boss or you. And when you get together with other people in the same situation, there's just so much sharing and so much knowledge that can be shared and support. It doesn't necessarily have to be about referrals. I think the referrals and that come with time, but just you've got to be ready to learn. You've got to be ready to learn and adapt.
And I think listening, we listened to what you guys told us, and we didn't we were sat festering on things for far too long. We started implementing them and got away from that fear. And right, let's give it a go. And so we gave it a go. We gave these things a go that you taught us about, and they started showing us small rewards. And from that way, once we could see that, oh my God, that works, it made us a lot more confident in trying the next step, So I think that's really important, to actually implement what you're being taught, and just do it and stop being afraid of doing it.
Set goals and
implementation is the key.
Coming towards those goals.
So, and what would you say to someone who was thinking of using profitable tradie services but was a little bit uncertain or concerned about the investment or the time? What would you say to them?
I think the investment, like I said, I was on a very small turnover, and I was humming and hawing about it. And, there's probably a lot of people wouldn't have taken it up, but now it's not a big number anymore, because the rewards, you sort of join, if you want to learn and you join the program, you're going to learn a lot really quickly. That's just my opinion.
And if you implement what you learn, you will grow. And that overcomes any price that you have to pay for the service. And like you say, we don't even notice the price really that we pay for the service anymore, because of we've had so much from Profitable Tradie, and we wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for you guys.
Yeah, if we hadn't have taken that early, I don't know where we'd be, to be honest. Yeah. But just learning that, it really accelerated learning for us, and we were a startup business, so.
But people have to understand as well that you are not going to do it for them. You've got to be
the author of your own success, for sure. No doubt about it.
I think if you're gonna invest that, you're probably going to have that sort of drive anyway. I would have thought. If you don't have it, you'll get it pretty quick. Because,
that's right. That's exactly right.
And there's so many ways to fast track your business. Things like Ground Plan and Fergus and Xero. There's lots of cloud-based, really, that take up a whole job, of a human, so that human can go and do other stuff, and there's so many ways now to make your business systemized and working really efficiently without having lots of paper around. And it's
great time to actually be in business in many ways.
Definitely, yeah,
for sure. So guys, look, I just want to say congratulations on the journey so far. You've come a long way, and that's a testament to the effort you've put in, and it's been for us a real pleasure, being part of that journey with you. We've really enjoyed it, and just love working with people like yourselves who get in there and make stuff happen. It's fantastic. So keep up the great work.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It's good to actually.
Never thought we'd be sitting here.
Yeah. I honestly, it wasn't until you sort of mentioned it that I realised how far we'd actually come, because you're always chasing something. So it's good to actually see, actually review how far we've come just with this process, really.